Concern over changes to animal protection, what a drop in funding could mean for pets in the province. A major boost to help the hungry in Saskatoon, how the community is encouraged to help this holiday season. And mining for help in Saskatchewan, a new initiative to get more people to join the industry's workforce.
This is CTV News with Chantel Saunders.
Good evening. The Saskatchewan SPCA is raising concern about animal welfare enforcement in the province. As Stacey Hine tells us, it comes as the provincial government opens the bid for animal protection services to new agencies and updates legislation.
With the contract for animal protection services in Saskatchewan set to expire in March, the province has opened the work to new bids. Currently, Animal Protection Services of Saskatchewan handles enforcement province-wide, except in Regina, where the Humane Society provides the service. The Saskatchewan SPCA says it worries about the changes, including potential funding cuts.
The main one, though, would be around the financial constraints.
The province told CTV News it spent about $6.5 million on animal protection over the past 3.5 years, which works out to about $1.8 million per year. But the Saskatchewan SPCA says new requests for proposals suggest an annual budget of $1.6 million. It notes officers already log enough overtime to equal a full-time position.
They're already seeing, a strained workload based off the current of dollars that have been made available to them. We aren't sure how an agency taking over would do more with less.
Last week, the province announced it's updating animal protection legislation to improve transparency and accountability. The changes include a new code of conduct, a chief officer to oversee enforcement, and an appeals board on animal decisions. The Saskatchewan SPCA says there's still unanswered questions around the legislation changes and funding.
And any time that we can have an opportunity to get clarification, we welcome that.
In a statement to CTV News, the province says animal welfare remains a priority for Saskatchewan. It also says the proposed budget of $1.6 million reflects the funding that will continue to fully support enforcement under a new provider. Stacey Hine, CTV News, Saskatoon.
The former director of a private Christian school has pleaded guilty to criminal charges. Instead of going to trial today, John Olababokin pleaded guilty to 5 counts of assault with a weapon stemming from 2003 while working at Christian Center Academy, now known as Valor Academy. This comes just weeks after being sentenced and convicted of 9 counts of assault with a weapon. A sentencing hearing is scheduled for Thursday. Saskatoon police have charged a man in connection to the death of another man who was found dead just west of Saskatoon. On June 4th, the remains of 31-year-old Chad Romensky were found near Highway 7. Today, members of the Saskatoon Police Services Warrant Enforcement Unit arrested a 30-year-old man in connection to Romensky's death. He has been charged with aggravated assaults, kidnapping, and first-degree murder. He is scheduled to make his first court appearance tomorrow morning. Prince Albert police are investigating a death in the East Hill neighborhood. Police were called to the 200 block of 17th Street East. The public was advised to stay away from the area while police investigated. Over the noon hour, Prince Albert police said they were no longer in the area, but that the Saskatchewan Marshal Service was helping to guard the scene. No details about the person's death have been released, and police have not said whether it is considered suspicious. Meanwhile, the death of a woman in Meadow Lake has been deemed not suspicious. The 29-year-old was found unresponsive in a parking lot in the community on Friday morning. She was declared dead at the scene. Through their investigation, police have since determined there was no foul play in her death. No other details have been released. Well, Jeff, the wind today really cooled things off.
It sure did. No, temperatures weren't too bad. Actually, the warmest temperatures were around midnight, and temperatures did drop off during the day, rebound a little bit, but for the most part, close to seasonal temperatures. But you're right, Chantel, that wind was on the nasty side, and so certainly it made getting around a little less pleasant. Now, we're keeping our eye on the system that came through yesterday, dropped a little bit of snow, not a lot of snow, and yes, some people could probably use a broom to use it, to clean it up, but that's moving off, and then in behind it, we are still dealing with some cold temperatures, but a bit of a rebound, and I'll talk about that. It's not long-lived, but there is a bit of a rebound, so I'll have more on that later on.
Today is Giving Tuesday, a day dedicated to generosity and community support. The Saskatoon Food Bank and Learning Centre marked the occasion with a major boost. As Carla Shinkaruk tells us, presidents from Saskatchewan Union Locals stopped by with a sizable donation to help families struggling with food insecurity.
We're happy to donate $10,000 on behalf of our members to the Saskatoon Food Bank today.
At the Saskatoon Food Bank and Learning Centre, their annual Light It Up campaign kicked off on Giving Tuesday with a big helping hand. It's thanks to members of UFCW Locals, a check presented for $10,000, the money raised by workers across Saskatchewan.
I think for us it's important to show that unions also, the solidarity that unions show extends beyond the workplace into the community.
Union leaders say rising costs have left even steady wage earners stretched thin.
Our members that we represent here in Saskatoon, PA, Regina, they have full-time jobs. They're using the food bank. So that's why, with us and National, we've come across this, and that's why we're doing this donation.
At the food bank, the need continues to climb month after month, but they're counting on this holiday campaign, their biggest of the year.
Despite everyone feeling the crunch for the cost of living, we're seeing folks come out in droves to already support us in this campaign.
So for some perspective on what donations mean here, that $10,000 will cover 7,000 of these containers of milk.
In our food bank program, we're seeing over 23,000 people a month, probably putting out 8,500 hampers a month, and that's a big strain on our resources.
On a day built around giving back, for the food bank, this contribution is more than a donation. It's a reminder that community support keeps their doors open and shelves stocked. Carla Shinkaruk, CTV News, Saskatoon.
Kids interested in building careers in the mining industry have an opportunity to study in their home communities, specifically rural areas, as the Mosaic Company announces a $4 million commitment to high school and post-secondary institutions across Saskatchewan. Sierra D'Souza Butts has the details.
With the town of Esterhazy being home to the Mosaic Company's largest potash operation, the town is always looking for opportunities to keep young people in the community.
Students that are in Esterhazy, their parents already work at the mines. So with them getting the education in Esterhazy, they can become second or third generation miners, which means, of course, growth.
Now that's closer to happening.
I'm pleased to share that the Mosaic Company is committing $4 million to programs with several important education partners here in Saskatchewan.
Mosaic's $4 million investment will provide high schools and post-secondary institutions across Saskatchewan a chance to expand educational opportunities for students considering mining careers.
We are already looking at positions that we need to fill, one being industrial mechanics. So throughout the year, we've had about 20 rotating empty positions and have been trying to fill those. And there's about 100 roles just for industrial mechanics in Esterhazy. So it's critical that we start investing in that pipeline. So as people retire, we can fill it every time there's an opening.
Good Spirit School Division, Suncrest College, Saskatchewan Polytechnic, and a potash mining readiness program for Indigenous students will each receive at least $1 million from Mosaic.
We'll be able to almost quadruple the number of students that we're able to put through our practical and applied arts millwright program in Churchbridge that doors would have been closed for in the past.
It's a great pathway for students in rural Saskatchewan to be able to get this education at home is phenomenal, and we know that our learners thrive when they study close to home.
Each institution will use the funding differently, but the goal is the same, building a larger workforce for one of Saskatchewan's largest industries. Sierra D'Souza Butts, CTV News, Regina.
A big announcement from SaskTel Centre today. Callie Mandrick on the new event headed to Saskatoon next summer.
Saskatoon's newest music festival will be coming to SaskTel Centre in the summer of 2026.
Saskatoon, Saskatchewan. Saskatoon, Saskatchewan.
The Grammy-nominated Jelly Roll will be headlining Outskirts Music Festival. Organizers say the event is expected to draw in 20,000 people to the grounds of Sask Center.
I think just the uniqueness of what we put together, there's a little something for everyone, and I hope that people look at this lineup and just feel like they can grab a couple of artists out of here and go, man, this is for me.
Other big names on the lineup include Third Eye Blind and Cooper Allen. The festival will also feature some local Saskatchewan talent, with Widemouth Mason and Braden King both set to take the stage.
So this has been in the planning stages for 3 months now. Obviously, getting a lineup like this together takes a lot of time, and then the logistics around the site and the production and the stage and everything that goes into curating a world-class music festival. So we're really excited.
The one-day festival is set to take place on June 26th, and organizers shared the event could become an annual tradition, depending on the turnout.
Kind of a different feel and a different look for everybody to be outside, of course. Kind of the first day of summer holidays for everyone, and to be outside, I think we could ask for nothing better.
Tickets for Outskirts Music Festival start at $163.50, which are set to go on sale this Friday. Hallie Mandrick, CTV News, Saskatoon.
Saskatchewan health officials are widening access to HIV self-testing kits. Kits can be picked up by members of the public at several SHA locations, including public health clinics and community support providers. A full list can be found on the SHA's website. The kits only require a small blood sample to deliver accurate results within 1 minute. Positive results need to be confirmed through additional in-person testing. The SHA says better access to the kits will help with both HIV awareness and reducing the stigma around testing. Students at the University of Regina are closer to having representation. Months after its student union group dramatically disbanded, new leadership is forming. Damian Smith explains.
It's a time of transition for University of Regina students who have been without an official student union since URSU dissolved in October. A new union has formed on campus, but will need a referendum to get an organization into place.
We're sort of here as signers to get the organization started with incorporation and all of that sort of stuff, and then to pursue the negotiations with the university on getting everything handed back over to student control.
The new union will be called the University of Regina Students Association, or URSA. According to McStravick, the organization will operate like the legislature with a general council and will also have 100 seats available for student groups around the University of Regina and First Nations University.
We're not going to try to dictate to the student societies and associations how they ought to elect, appoint the people who are filling their seats.
Also new, students from FNU will also have elected representation. In the past, URSU worked with the FNU Student Association, receiving a portion of the fees from past levies.
At FNU here, there's not. The students aren't allowed to vote here. So we do need that board, that bigger board that can help to advocate for things like that. And I think that it's great because we have been sitting in limbo for so long.
FNU is guaranteed representation both as a federated college, so there will be a direct elected member to the General Council for FNU.
The election will take place in March, and a neutral chief returning officer for the election will also be hired to show students transparency and give them confidence in the election process. Damian Smith, CTV News, Regina.
RCMP have released video showing a suspect in an October fire that destroyed a business in southwestern Saskatchewan. It happened early of the morning of October 26th in Leader. The police have now released the complete surveillance video in hopes it can lead to the ID of the suspect or the vehicle. In it, you can see a dark-colored SUV arriving at a business. The suspect gets out, breaks in, and leaves. Police say the vehicle strongly resembles a Jeep, but may also be a similar-looking SUV. Tips can be submitted to police or anonymously through Crime Stoppers. Another blow for Saskatchewan community after a major bank is closing its branch. BMO is closing its Melville location. It follows closures in Davidson and Weyburn earlier this year. The bank posted a sign that notifies its customers that the branch will be closing in June of 2026. The regional vice president, along with the branch manager, will be available in branch for an information session in the new year. After June, the next available branch for Melville customers will be in Yorkton, about half an hour drive. Many won't be available to travel for their banking needs. So the mayor of Melville said he is disappointed.
I do have a meeting set up with the Chamber of Commerce Executive Director this week, and we'll just talk about perhaps the business community through the Chamber's leadership can write a letter to BMO just expressing, our disappointment, I guess, for want of a better thing. And
CTV News reached out to BMO for a comment but did not receive an answer. A government building in Regina is being recognized for its accessibility. The TC Douglas building was given the Rick Hansen Foundation Accessibility Certification on August 30th. It's a national rating system measuring meaningful access for disabilities, including mobility, neurodivergence, hearing, and vision, to be able to visit buildings. The building already had accessibility features, so it didn't need any extensive upgrades other than power doors, signs, and universal washrooms.
Over the next couple of years, we're looking to audit our 515 owned buildings until December 2027 to give us the information we need to see what the gap is to get other buildings accessible for all the citizens who need access to buildings that provide government programs and services.
The sturdy stone building in Saskatoon and Cooper Place in Regina are the next buildings under review for the certification. And a quick reminder, the deadline to nominate someone for the Citizen of the Year Award presented by CTV is just days away. Nomination guides are available here at CTV Saskatoon or on our website. The deadline to submit your nomination is Friday, December 5th. We will announce this year's recipient on December 31st. Still to come, more pushback on plans for a new pipeline project. Who is voicing concern? Also, police across the country make a major fentanyl bust to look at what was seized. You're watching CTV News Live from downtown Saskatoon. Thanks for staying with us. A joint effort involving more than 100 police agencies in Canada has resulted in record seizures of fentanyl over several months. Their efforts uncovered massive amounts of drugs being trafficked in Canada, but not across borders. Judy Trin reports.
These investigations took place on opposite ends of our province.
For months, police across Canada, in big cities and small towns, have been targeting organized crime.
We did find this group had certain photos or emblems.
Between May and October, a joint strike force of more than 100 police agencies focused on taking illegal fentanyl off the streets. Police seized 386 kilograms of fentanyl, more than 1,700 kilograms of methamphetamine, and nearly 6,000 kilograms of cocaine, along with more than $13 million in cash.
There's some big players here, and there's some smaller departments, but it's a real shining example of the feds, the provinces, and municipal agencies all working together.
A chunk of fentanyl there. This is the second time that a national effort was coordinated by the RCMP to target deadly opioids after Donald Trump accused Canada of not doing enough to stem the flow of fentanyl across the border earlier this year.
Canada's a very bad abuser.
The RCMP say more than 8,000 arrests and charges were laid involving 200 organized crime groups. Despite the record quantities of seizures, investigators say fentanyl is being trafficked for domestic use, not being exported.
The source is not each other. The source is from external countries, external regions. So fentanyl is not going certainly from Canada to the U.S.
The RCMP say China continues to be the biggest source of precursor chemicals that go into the making of illegal fentanyl. In the near future, the Mounties plan to target ports, rail yards, and airports, along with drugs that are sent through the mail. Judy Trin, CTV News, Ottawa.
Every school division in Manitoba is being ordered to boost safety after a convicted sex offender allegedly made his way into an elementary school washroom last week and grabbed a student.
We are encouraging every single school division across Manitoba to strongly consider controlled access to their building.
The incident happened Thursday afternoon. The child fought and got away. Police say the 28-year-old man was arrested at a nearby shopping mall. He is charged with assault, forcible confinement, and 2 counts of failure to comply with a prohibition regarding children. A disturbing incident at a BC hospital where a woman broke into a neonatal intensive care unit in Surrey and held babies.
Nurses aren't safe, doctors aren't safe, patients aren't safe, and now even newborn babies aren't safe.
The incident allegedly involved 3 newborns on October 28th. Police say the suspect removed her shirt and held the infants, though none were injured. She's now facing 3 assault charges. In 2016, the same woman pleaded guilty to 1 count of animal cruelty after she stabbed and tortured a dog. She avoided jail time after the judge accepted her lawyer's argument that she was in a psychotic state at the time. The publisher of Canada's Franklin the Turtle books is condemning an online post by the U.S. Defense Secretary. An AI-manipulated image posted by Pete Hegseth yesterday is a mock cover of a Franklin book titled Franklin Targets Narco-Terrorists with a caption, "For your Christmas wish list." It shows the character firing a weapon from a helicopter at one of 3 boats carrying packages. It appears to be in reference to American military strikes against suspected drug smuggling vessels in the Caribbean Sea and Eastern Pacific Ocean. Publisher Kids Can Press responded with a statement saying Franklin the Turtle is a beloved Canadian icon who has inspired generations of children and stands for kindness, empathy, and inclusivity. We strongly condemn any degradation, violence, or unauthorized use of Franklin's name or image which directly contradicts these values.
I'm Bruce Nordick, Mayor of the town of Watson, inviting you and your family to join us this weekend for our 94th annual Santa Claus Days. Festive Friday features horse-drawn sleigh rides, the community bonfire, and fireworks, and so much more on Santa Saturday. On Facebook, search Santa Claus Days in Watson for all the info. Let's hope our hometown weather cooperates too. Hey, Jeff?
That's right, Mr. Mayor, and it looks like it's going to be, well, it's not going to be snowing, but it will be a little cooler on Saturday than on Friday. But right now, Friday's looking okay, a little cooler than seasonal, but, you know, it's not, there's a bonfire on Main Street. There's going to be, as you said, sleigh rides. I know there's fireworks at 9 o'clock, and so there's lots of things going on Friday between 6:30 and 9:30, and then, of course, the next day, Saturday, you got your pancake breakfast. You got your traditional movie at the school for the kids, and then that night, supper with Santa. Sweet! All right, so that's going on in Watson this weekend. Pack up the kids, head out to Watson, take a picture with the giant statue. Minus 12 degrees on Friday for a daytime high. A little cooler in the evening, cloudy skies, and once again, Santa Claus Days. All right. All right, let's take a look at our numbers. You got to do these things for your hometown. It only makes sense. Minus 12 degrees for Saskatoon. Some light flurries out there, and the same for the Battlefords. Minus 14 in Prince Albert. And as you can see, a little breezier in Saskatoon and the Battlefords than it is in Prince Albert. On to our almanac. Well, the temperature at midnight, so it stands as a 24-hour high. Minus 5 degrees. Minus 7 is typical for this time of year. 12 degrees on the plus side from 1941. That is the hot temperature record for the 2nd of December. Minus 34 from 1940 is the cold temperature record, and the sun went down 2 minutes before 5.
Coming up, a BC man and his machines. We key in on quite the collection he is building in his garage.
It's going to be a very prairie Christmas. Wednesday on Your Morning, a very special performance from Jeffrey Straker ahead of his very prairie Christmas shows in Saskatchewan.
Okay, well, now let's take a look through the live lens of Skycam, and ooh, some wintry scenes. There's certainly some snow on the ground. This stuff is sticking around. We talked about that before. We didn't get that much snow last night. More than a dusting, but not really much more than that. I know some people could take care of it with a broom, but I used a small shovel. As opposed to the big shovel I often use for other things. But there you go. Right now, you can certainly see the pancaking ice on the South Saskatchewan, and we'll see more of that as we go along through the week. Let's take a look at our satellite and radar shot here. Really what I want to take a quick look at is big nor'easter coming up out of the off the American Atlantic seaboard there, making its way up towards Atlantic Canada. So if your travels are taking you anywhere near there, there could be some serious delays. Across the Prairie Province is not such a big deal. A little bit of snow sliding through. That's what came through in the last 24, and we don't expect much in the next 24. Minus 12 degrees in Saskatoon, minus 14 in Prince Albert, and minus 12 in the Battlefords. As we take a quick look at what's going on with our hot and cold spot, well, Cypress Hills Provincial Park is the hot spot. Once again, this temperature is from midnight. That was 3 degrees. Mid-afternoon, Cypress Hills was around minus 3 degrees. Stony Rapids was the cold spot at minus 32 degrees. Around the province we go, minus 11 degrees in a whole bunch of places, including Lloydminster, Swift Current, Regina, and Estevan, minus 13 in Yorkton. Into central parts of the province, we've got ourselves 14 degrees in Buffalo, or rather in Meadow Lake, and up north we've got ourselves 28 degrees on the cold side of things in Stony Rapids and Collins Bay, and then staying in the minus 20s for a lot of places, although Buffalo Narrows is at minus 16, and down south some minus single digits. That's towards the southwestern part of the province and down along the international border. Otherwise, a big chunk of this area is in and around that minus 12, minus 11, 10 degree mark, so not too bad in that respect. Here we go with our future cast. We don't anticipate much in the way of precipitation. A little something sliding into northern Saskatchewan tomorrow evening, but throughout the daytime hours, it looks like it's fairly clear, but a bit breezy at times. Winds on the moderate side. Cloudy or mainly cloudy skies. Temperatures in the low teens to 20 degrees on the minus side. That's in Stony Rapids. Minus 12 degrees in Spiritwood. A chance of flurries in Meadow Lake at minus 11. Minus 8 in Kindersley. Minus 10 in Rosetown. Minus 4 in Maple Creek. Minus 7 in Leader. Minus 11 in Outlook. Minus 8 in Swift Current. Temperatures of minus 17 in Yorkton and Estevan. Minus 14 in Regina. 1 degree warmer with a little bit more sunshine in Moose Jaw. And minus 17 degrees in Melfort and Humboldt. Minus 14 in Watrous and minus 16 in Hudson Bay on Wednesday. Clearing skies for the Battlefords. Minus 26 degrees. Minus 11 tomorrow with mainly cloudy skies. But look at this. Minus 1 on Thursday. Break out the flip-flops and shorts. Then get them back. Then get rid of them because it cools off again. Minus 20 by Saturday. Minus 14 on Sunday. But back to seasonal temperatures on Monday and warmer than seasonal with a chance of flurries on Tuesday. Clearing skies for Prince Albert. Minus 26 degrees. Minus 17 on Wednesday with mainly cloudy skies. Minus 5, so above seasonal on Thursday in Prince Albert. And then mainly cloudy skies Friday and Saturday and dropping down to minus 22 on Saturday. Not much of a rebound on Sunday. And then we get closer to seasonal and then above seasonal temperatures on Monday and Tuesday. A slight chance of flurries on both days. And finally, Saskatoon. Clearing skies with a risk of frostbite. Minus 25 degrees. Minus 14 tomorrow with mainly cloudy conditions. Winds out of the south at 20 kilometers an hour. So that minus 14 will feel colder than that. Minus 2 on Thursday, then 10 degrees colder on Friday. Minus 19 for a high on Saturday. Minus 13 on Sunday. Slightly above seasonal temperatures or thereabouts on Monday with mainly cloudy skies. And minus 4 1 week from today with a 40% chance of flurries. K-pop hit all the right notes with YouTube viewers. The company releasing its top trending videos in Canada for 2025. It says not only was the hit Netflix animated movie K-pop Demon Hunters one of the top trending topics, multiple songs from the musical were also among the year's top trending tracks. Also, the song APT by Bruno Mars and Rosé, and a star from the K-pop group Blackpink, was listed as the top YouTube song of the year after it was the 5th fastest music video to reach 1 billion views. A long-lost painting is sold at auction after being hidden for centuries. The Christ on the Cross painting by Baroque master Peter Paul Rubens was recently found in a private townhouse in Paris. It was created around 1620 to 1625, but was only recently rediscovered at a mansion in the French capital before going under the hammer on Sunday. It sold for $2.7 million US. And speaking of auctions, champagne from Prince Charles and Lady Diana's wedding is up for auction in Denmark. A rare magnum of Dom Perignon vintage 1961 champagne, which was served at the wedding in 1981, is set to go on auction next week. The bottle could be worth up to $130,000, and unlike the royal wedding cake in Seinfeld, this bubbly shouldn't taste stale.
All right, we've got some fresh photos of the day, right?
We sure do. We get lots of pictures, but these are the 3 we picked for today. We try and show as many as possible. This one comes to us from Lori, and Lori tells us this picture was taken on November 17th in Peterson. Land of the living skies never gets old. We can certainly agree with that. That is an amazing shot, Lori, so thank you for sharing that with us. Next one from Teresa, taken in Kenaston. Frost and snowy trees, sunshine and blue skies, and my son's 1953 GMC. That is a great shot. That's a picture postcard. There you go. And finally from Wanda, this is Mocha in St. Benedict. She didn't like the cold after her haircut. So you got to get bundled up there. So Mocha, you're looking good there. And thank you for sharing those images with us. And if you'd like to do so, you can send them to cfqcnews@ctv.ca. And please put pick of the day in the subject line and give us your full name for the photo credit.
Still to come on CTV News, we introduce you to a BC man who has quite the collection. Why these machines are just his type. A BC man has an impressive haul of machines in his garage. Adam Sawatsky shows us his key collection that has turned into a true passion.
Oh, it's my happy place.
The story behind this garage filled with typewriters begins at the back of it.
This is the very first machine.
One of 2 typewriters that Brendan bought on a whim at a yard sale.
And I thought, wow, those are kind of neat and old, and I bet I could get them working.
He painted the first one the same color as his car at the time, after figuring out how to fix it on his own.
The analog of it, for me, is what I really like.
But before he could solve the mechanical puzzle of the second typewriter, Brendan began touring the world as the lead singer of the AC/DC tribute band, BC/DC.
And it's great. It keeps going.
Except when the pandemic stopped it, and Brendan started tinkering with that second typewriter 27 years after the first one.
I just love the mechanics of it. And now I got about, I don't know, 160.
Brendan has refurbished every one, accompanied by a soundtrack of not classic rock, but songs from whatever year the typewriter was built. His collection ranges from machines made during the war to fold compact during combat.
The guys would be in the trenches typing out.
To this more comical take on contemporary communication.
Tweets took a lot longer to get to where they were going. And then you'd have to wait for the reply in the mail.
And while his favorite typewriter is this Torpedo 18B,
types like a hot knife through butter.
Brendan rarely types anything on any of them.
It's like I'm a car mechanic who doesn't drive.
Instead, Brendan lends dozens of his typewriters to high school libraries so young people can get acquainted with the antiquated.
Brings you back to technology that isn't distracting.
Instead, these machines, designed to be fixed rather than disposed of, invite you to focus and compose something wonderful with words.
They're all full of stories. They're full of whatever's in your head.
Which is why Brendan says every one of them is worth saving.
There's a finite amount of them, so I want to try and keep them alive.
Adam Sawatsky, CTV News, Port Moody.
When we come back, a look at a unique program to get youth into the game of hockey and what had these Penguins doing a happy dance.
Welcome back. Time to take a look at our rural forecast. And we've got quite the contrast between east and west. So relatively mild conditions for Lloydminster and Kindersley in those areas, basically around -8 degrees, -11 up in Meadow Lake with some snow. But if we make our way over to the eastern side of the province, temperatures do drop off significantly. -17 for a high in Melfort, -16 in Hudson Bay and Wynyard. What about down south? Well, let's take a looky-loo north and south of the Trans-Canada. As you can see, -4 in Maple Creek, but -14 in in Coronach, minus 16 in Carlisle and Broadview, and minus 17 in Kenora. So, yes, some chilly temperatures out there. What about Borden? I'll tell you what about Borden. Minus 11 tomorrow with partly cloudy skies. Winds out of the south at 20, so even though it's a southerly wind, not exactly warm, it will make that minus 11 feel decidedly cooler, so probably around minus 15 degrees. So, Borden is one of those many places where internet plans of up to 1 gig are available from SaskTel.
Greetings, everyone. There are a number of initiatives happening across Canada to help grow the game of hockey, including one program coming straight from the top. NHL First Shift recently made its way to Regina, giving families some of the pieces needed to begin exploring hockey in a competitive capacity. A unique tryout is happening on the ice. 45 skaters new to the sport of hockey, breaking in their skates, sticks, and equipment for the very first time. They are all a part of NHL First Shift, a program helping to get skaters and families into Canada's favorite pastime.
It's so much more than sport. You know, what we're providing is really safe spaces for kids to come and to play and to try and to build courage at any skill level. And so to be able to provide that for kids where they can build their confidence and relate with their peers and try something new, it's really remarkable.
For generations, youth in Canada looking to make it in pro hockey has been a family effort. The sport requires both time and resources, which has been a barrier for many looking to pursue it. First Shift is intended to help families manage these barriers by getting players geared up on arena ice and learning to play the game from instructors.
We are not really familiar with the hockey life leagues, and just having somebody out there showing us right from what we need and how to put it on to the basics in skating.
The NHL First Shift program has worked with over 22,000 children across Canada. 45 skaters ages 6 to 10 are in this group, made up entirely of Indigenous children. Throughout the 6-week program, skaters will be in a 1-to-4 ratio with instructors, preparing to play a season with Rancheros Outdoor Hockey League. The OHL has been a longtime advocate for removing barriers for children to play hockey.
The OHL, the Outdoor Hockey League, has been growing, and now to be able to supplement our program with First Shift to give another opportunity to our players and youth in our city. We look forward to further opportunities where we're able to engage and give back to community.
The NHL First Shift program was made possible by sponsorships from One Hoop and Innovation Federal Credit Union, along with Hockey Regina and Arlo Sport Venture. If you have a story you would like to see in this segment, here's how to reach us. You can contact me by email, and you can also watch past episodes and segments of Indigenous Circle on our CTV Regina and CTV Saskatoon websites.
Indigenous Circle, brought to you in part by Saskatchewan Indigenous Enterprise Foundation, growing the First Nation entrepreneurial spirit.
First Nations leaders from across the country are in Ottawa this week, and they had a chance to hear from and question the Prime Minister for the first time since he signed an agreement with Alberta that sets the stage for a new pipeline. As Abigail Beeman tells us, the chiefs sent a strong message opposing that agreement.
Do you respect the direction of the rights and title holders?
A chance for First Nations to hear from the Prime Minister and ask a few questions.
I look forward to that meeting at the earliest opportunity.
Mark Carney says he will meet with coastal BC First Nations chiefs, staunchly opposed to the new MOU between Alberta and Ottawa that sets the stage for a new pipeline. He also committed to a First Ministers meeting with First Nations in the new year.
Under the leadership of the Minister of Indigenous Services, this government intends to introduce water legislation in the spring of 2026.
Key on the day one agenda, an emergency resolution to keep the oil tanker ban and a call to scrap the new MOU.
This resolution has been accepted.
It passed unanimously.
First Nations in Canada are feeling
overwhelmed, that they're feeling as though the duty to consult is being undermined.
Merle Alexander is representing 2 coastal BC First Nations.
There also is a real pushback against this regression on environmental and climate change policies.
Canada can create all the MOUs, project offices, advisory groups that they want, but chiefs are united. When it comes to approving large national projects on First Nations lands, there will not be getting around rights holders.
It's a message not just coming from BC, but chiefs across the country.
We've had enough of being excluded, and there's going to be trillions of dollars going to be extracted over the next 10 to 100 years, and for First Nations to get chump change, it's not going to happen.
The Special Chiefs Assembly continues here until Thursday. Also on the agenda, a plenary session about the Major Projects Office and Indigenous Advisory Committee. Abigail Beeman, CTV News, Ottawa.
Canadian Western Exhibition broke a record. This year's show welcomed more than 151,000 visitors, making it the most attended exhibition to date. 3 sold-out rodeo nights were a major factor, along with a number of record school-aged visitors. The 55th edition of exhibition returns to the Rail District in Regina next November. Team Kerry Einarson will wear Canada colours at the Scotties Tournament of Hearts next month in Mississauga, Ontario. Curling Canada says the Manitoba rink will assume the title of Team Canada at the Playdowns at the end of January. The reigning champions, skipped by Rachel Homan, will not return to defend their title as they prepare for the Winter Olympics in February. Einarson is a 4-time Canadian champion. Her team had already earned one of 3 pre-qualification berths for the Scotties based on last season's rankings. A smaller Canadian bank is being acquired in a $1.9 billion deal. Morella Fernandez explains.
Laurentian Bank is being sold to Fairstone Bank for just under $2 billion. Fairstone is an alternative mortgage lender. It will pay a 20% premium to Laurentian shareholders to buy the bank's commercial lending unit. And National Bank is acquiring Laurentian's retail and small business assets. The news today swept Laurentian shares up over 18%. Here are the closing numbers for the day. The Canadian dollar is down to 71.54. West Texas Intermediate crude is down to 58.64. Western Canadian Select is up to 46.24. And the TSX lost another 52 points today, ending the day at 31,049. Those are your business headlines. I'm Morella Fernandez.
Turning to local gas prices now, the average price in Saskatoon just over $1.22 a litre. The lowest price in town is $1.149. On Saskatchewan markets, Cameco finished the day at $1.2340 and Nutrient dropped $1.38. Coming up, some animals have some flaky fun. Then what made for some happy feet at the London Zoo.
Select Hair Services brought to you by Sage, the beauty bar.
Stay with us. We've got another full night of great shows for you right here on CTV. Well, many of us grumble about the snow, right? Yes. But some, they embrace it. Animals at the Brookfield Zoo in Chicago enjoyed a snow day recently. Some of them rolled around in it. Others carried on like, nothing special was happening, like this guy, just taking it all in stride. During the flurries, though, zoo photographers had a chance to snap some stunning shots of animals playing in the snow. So
that's pretty cool.
It's a win-win. Yeah. The animals and then,
and they look like, it's kind of a surprise for some of them.
Yeah. They look comfy.
Maybe like certain drivers in Saskatoon. Where's the snow come from? It happens every year. What?
Yeah. All right, well, speaking of zoos, the London Zoo's penguins recently got a very special treat. The Humboldt penguins were treated to an advent calendar full of fish as part of the zoo's Magic of Christmas event. Humboldt penguins are pretty clumsy on land, but quick in the water, though when they're getting snacks, they seem to be moving quite well.
There you go.
There you go, counting down the days to Christmas.
There you go. The Humboldt penguins got got treats. The Munster Penguins got nothing. Zilch.
That'll be tomorrow night. We'll see what they're up to.
That's right, the Munster Penguins. There you go.
Look at them all coming.
I know. Like, look, it's free food. Why wouldn't you show up? Exactly. Cool. Hey, tomorrow night, we're talking about all things, Christmassy, and the Enchanted Forest is up and running, but tomorrow night, Santa is going to be at the Enchanted Forest at the forestry farm. So I think he's there between 5:30 and 6:30. I have to double check the timeline on this. Maybe a little late. It's going to be a little later, but Santa Claus is going to be at the Enchanted Forest tomorrow, and it should be a lot of fun.
He's going to have to bundle up tomorrow night.
He'll have to bundle up. It'll be, well, actually, tomorrow will be, it'll still be cold. The Thursday it'll be warmer, but he's there on Wednesday. That's the way it goes.
Well, he's always watching, so he's always here.
Exactly. He's always watching, and he knows how to stay warm. He's from the North Pole, for goodness sake.
This is true.
Yeah.
He's keeping a close eye on you, I'm told. Elf on the Shelf told me. Thanks for watching.
Right.